This is my fully electric 2021 Kia Niro, and over the next few weeks I'll be driving it on a full lap of Australia, passing through some very remote places. The charging won't always be easy, but it should be one incredible journey.
Oh my god! I'm in Coolangatta and it's 6:26 AM, and at 6:30 AM this parking spot becomes a no standing zone. So, I'm not quite ready to leave yet, but I had a quick look at PlugShare last night and it looks like there's an AC charger right around the corner, so I might try and plug into that. I know it won't add huge extra range, but with that plus the 108 kilometers I already have, I could maybe get some decent driving done before the first DC charge of the day, and I'm not quite ready to leave yet, so it's only meant to be 300 meters away. Traffic started very early here, but I guess some of the people driving those cars might live in the other time zone, and they've actually woken up an hour later than I was thinking it is. Guess I'll park in this one. So it's actually the same unit as what I used yesterday while I was waiting for the DC charger to be available. So at least I know how to use that now. So, I think, scan that, hit start. That sounds promising. Yes, that worked. We are getting not quite full AC power, but all right, on 30%, so I obviously won't get to a full, but I'll leave it here till I'm ready to go and hopefully top it up a little bit. I looked for DC chargers. Apart from the one I used last time that is now completely out of order, there's not really any in realistic walking distance. I mean I could walk it, but by the time I walked there and back, the DC charger would finish charging the car, so it wouldn't really work. But this is fine, get a bit of power in and somewhere to park. There's also a Nissan Leaf here with an interesting setup. It's now 7:27, so it's been just under an hour since I plugged in. The car's now up to 38%, still doing 6.8 kilowatts. It's warm in here, turn the air conditioner on. So yeah, it hasn't added a lot, but seeing as I needed to move the car anyway, might as well add something. If I thought of it, I could have plugged in last night. It's really not that far from the hotel, and then I would have been on a full charge. But I just really wanted to get to bed last night. It was late. Anyway, I actually discovered as I was walking back over here, this charger is in New South Wales. So I've already crossed the border. Kind of an undramatic crossing, but anyway, been back and forth multiple times. So I'm now in New South Wales and I have 134 kilometers of estimated range. So I'm not really sure if I can do anything with that other than just use a local DC charger. Oh, that's only 51 kilometers. That might work out unless there's something a little bit further. That's probably too far away. That's a Tesla Supercharger station though, that might be better. 79 kilometres, so what's 135 estimated right now minus 79? That's a 56 buffer. I think that's doable. I think I'll go to the Tesla one. That way I'm guaranteed to get a good charge, pretty much, because they have so many stalls and they have good uptime and everything. So I think I'll go there. I'm up to 39% now from waiting here, but it doesn't make any sense at all to sit here until it fully charges off this, because this is slow. So I'd better hit the road. I'll just get everything hooked up. So I'm hoping to get a bit beyond Sydney today, and I think that should be quite doable. And it's all very sort of familiar territory for me now, because if you haven't watched it already, I actually already filmed a video of me driving from Coolangatta back home. That was about 6 months ago. I filmed it, published it a fair bit later than that, but that's up there already, so it's kind of a repeat of that. So what that means is there's not really any sort of sightseeing I want to do or anything, because I've sort of seen it all before. I've done anything I might have wanted to do, and if there's anything else I did want to do, I will probably be back in not that long. So the next 2 days are really just going to be about covering distance and getting home, and I'm sort of somewhat familiar with the charges and roads and everything, so it will be a bit easier. And there's no more sort of gaps, like no more having to use the Queensland network or anything. It's all commercial, high-powered chargers all the way. Sometimes those chargers might have issues, but in theory they should all be good. And there's plenty to choose from, so if there's broken chargers, I'll just go to a different one, and lots of them. What I am going to have to be conscious of is there's now a lot of other EVs around. So when I'm picking stations, I want to be picking stations with quite a few chargers in the one place, because I'm following a Tesla right now. I've seen so many EVs driving around just this morning. So compared to what most of the trip has been like, I'm going to have to be a lot more conscious of that. But apart from that, it should be very easy run back home. When I did my trip from Coolangatta to home, I didn't leave here until I think 2 p.m. or something, and then I still did it in like the remainder of that day and then all of the next day. That was a big day of driving the next day, but I still managed to get home. So I feel like if I do well, I could be home in sort of mid-afternoon, late afternoon tomorrow, quite comfortably. Although I probably want a detour to Canberra, to include Canberra in the lap, but I'll see how I'm feeling at that point, because it's a bit annoying. Unfortunately, you can't just sort of go through Canberra and keep going. You have to get to, I think, Yass and drive down to Canberra, then turn around, drive back up to Yass, and then back down the Hume. There's really no good road that goes just straight down from Canberra to Melbourne, so it is actually a bit of a detour despite sort of being on the way. But anyway, I'll probably do that, but we'll see how we're going for time and everything. Gotten off the highway and it's immediately started pouring, because of course it has. There was sort of spitting rain for maybe the last 15 minutes or so, but now it's ready to pour on me as I plug in. The car still says 50 kilometres of range estimated, so I possibly could have stretched it a little bit further, but down to 15%. So without that charge this morning, I actually could have made it here. It just would have been really pushing it. And seeing as I needed more time anyway, I might as well have got the power in. I'll use it throughout the day. Always be charging. So I think it's at the Byron Bay Wildlife Sanctuary, this charger. Which feels like a weird concept, but I guess it's kind of good. You can visit the Wildlife Sanctuary while charging. So it's kind of even a better location than some of the chargers I've used. And there's a Tesla here already, but the beauty of these... Oh, two here already. But the beauty of these stations is there's plenty of them. Might take this one up here. This is a version 2. I didn't think any version 2s were compatible with other cars. It says it's Knockrail, New South Wales. And I might just take a screenshot quickly. The Tesla app never seems to know quite where I am, so you feel like, ooh, is that the charger? But I'm hoping it is. I'll go charge here, and I am at 3B. There's no way that's reaching. I've never used a version 2 supercharger before. I didn't think they were even physically capable of being open to non-Teslas. But there is a sign here, scan for instructions to charge a non-Tesla, that they have at all the chargers that allow non-Teslas to charge. So I guess it's fine. I'm hearing clicks. Yep. I pulled in on a weird angle, so that's hard to see. But there you go. We're ramping up. Not quite full power. Because with version 2 superchargers, you normally leave a gap between chargers in use. So there's 3 cars charging here now, and I would say there's probably like 3. So there's six chargers, two each are connected together, and they share power if 2 cars plug into those 2 chargers. So you want to make sure each car is on a different one if there's 3 cars with 6 chargers at a version 2. So I just went further away from all the others, thinking that would be best. I might be on another one, but I guess that's okay. I'm getting 65 kilowatts. So we do have this sign here, which is comforting. Was comforting for me when I wasn't sure if it was going to work. And we have my car weirdly parked here on 3B, or 3A, yes, I am sharing with someone. Whoops. So 3A and 3B are probably sharing power. Then there's 2A and 2B. I should probably come down and plug into 1A. Come on. There we go. So I reckon I should get 70 kilowatts now. Not that it makes really a massive difference for me, but it's probably kind of rude to be, because the Tesla charging probably could have had quite a bit more power, because they can charge faster than my car can, so it's probably rude to be sucking up their power. But anyway, 74 kilowatts now. So yes, it is worth being on a separate cabinet. But what this means is if one more car arrives now, someone will be sharing power with someone. But it is what it is, it's perfectly fine. And the odds are one of these cars will probably leave before anyone else arrives. But wow, 76 kilowatts. I think that is the absolute maximum marketed speed for my car. So this is going great. Oh, 77. Yeah, 77 might be the maximum. Anyway, it's doing very well. I guess maybe the battery's the perfect balance between being warmed up but not being overheated or something. I don't know. And it's a very good state of charge for getting a good charge. But anyway, that's very good. It just hit 79 kilowatts. This is literally the best charging I've ever experienced. For some reason, I have no idea why. I've never seen 79 kilowatts on this car before. This is pretty awesome. I mean, for most cars, 79 is pretty low, but for my car, that's quite impressive. So I'm just looking for the next charger, and it turns out the only good charger in Coffs Harbour is down, and that would be about the right place to go in Coffs Harbour. Coffs Harbour would be about the right sort of distance for me now. But there's a ChargeFox station there that's down, and there's a BP station that has one charger with two plugs, one 50 kilowatt charger with two plugs, so it's like 25 kilowatts each if someone else shows up there. I've been burned by that one before, it's terrible. I would never use that if I have any other options. So I'm only going to do 113 kilometres and charge up a bit more there so I can skip Coffs Harbour. Charging speed's still going along quite okay. It's at 60 kilowatts, but I could probably get slightly faster speeds if I go down another 100 kilometers, drain the battery a little bit, then top up with faster speeds. So that's probably what it makes sense to do, and it's all right on the highway, so not a big deal. So I think I will unplug and go do that. Tynedale Tourist Park Roadhouse has 2 EV-IE chargers. But yeah, that was a pretty interesting experience to me, having never used version 2s and not thinking I even could use version 2s. Because version 2s, they look pretty similar driving up to them, but they have the 2 cables. They have this weird Type 2, so Type 2 is the plug I would use, or basically every car in Australia would use to AC charge, so the slower charging. But older Teslas sold in Australia and I think a few other countries, older Teslas like that, actually they did some weird thing where they put DC power through the Type 2 connector. So there's actually Type 2 cables on those chargers to DC charge an old Model S or X. But then there's also the CCS2 to DC charge Model 3 or Y, or maybe even new Model S, I would assume. Yeah, so all the newer Teslas. So that means I can then use that as well. But then on the version 3s, they just said the older cars have to use an adapter or something, so it's all just the CCS. But I will see you in an hour and 5 minutes, and I'll plug in, top up a little bit more there, to then make it to the next one. I've got basically double the range that I need now because I'm not actually going very far, but I can't get much further without using a dodgy charger, so might as well go here. I'm now 5 minutes from the charger, 6.3 kilometers and 3.8 to the turn-off. So it is a little bit off the highway, but that's not a big deal. It's really just been raining, and yeah, that's about it. A wet drive. Nice being on a 2-lane highway. It's been a lot of traffic, but it's been nice to be able to overtake them all fairly easily. There's an EV sign and a Polestar. but that's why I wanted a minimum of 2 chargers available. Okay, I shall plug the plug. I have actually had issues with these. I've never used this station exactly, but these units before. They've, in the past, done the thing where they just say finish charging, return plug, and then it's held onto the plug before and I didn't know how to get it out. It's kind of scary. But anyway, we're ramping up now. We are getting good power now, 72 kilowatts. So we're all good. I will top up here, probably not a crazy amount, but a bit more than it currently is. And yeah, I'll work out where we're going next. So I think I'm really just going to keep hopping charger to charger to charger, because at a bit over 50%, my car drops to about 55 kilowatts as opposed to its peak of 70. So it's losing a bit of speed. Not the end of the world. It's not a massive difference, but it is slowing me down a bit. So I've found a charger that's 157 kilometers down the road. I've got 209 kilometers of range now, so that's about right to have a comfortable buffer. So I'll go there. It's another one of these EV stations with exactly these chargers and 2 and everything. I think it's basically the same concept. So I can go there and top up there a bit more, and then I should make it to Port Macquarie. Polestar that was here when I arrived is still over there. 81%, charging at 82% now, charging at 39 kilowatts. So at the top of the battery, the Polestar doesn't charge all that much better than my car does. But I'm being more optimised than them. But you don't know, maybe they're busy with something. I'm almost at my next charging stop. It's been dreadful rain, really. Just a lot of rain. I've had to slow down a few times, and driving through Coffs Harbour was quite heavy. Some minor flash flooding on the roads again. So yeah, it hasn't been a great drive. And all this rain has quite negatively impacted the efficiency. Getting off the highway here. So the car only has 26 kilometres of estimated range remaining, and that was looking even lower. Well, it hasn't been even lower than that, but the buffer was even smaller at times, but there's now only 3.4 kilometres to the charger. So I have had to drop the speed a bit towards the end of the trip, but I think I've quite comfortably made it now. I think at about 20 k's of estimated range, the range estimation disappears from the dashboard though. So then it gets really scary because you just have no idea what you're on. But I am currently on 9% state of charge, 26 showing remaining. The lowest I've been to this trip so far has been 6% at Camo Wheel when I couldn't charge and I was waiting around for a powered site, for it to be time to go to a powered site. So 6% is the lowest I've been on, and it's 9 now. I've only got 2.5 kilometres of sort of local driving to go now. so I probably won't even get down to 6, but for a while it was looking a little bit scary. But that's the thing, if you ever have your buffer shrinking too much, you really just drop the speed a bit. And maybe, I have turned off the air conditioner as well since Coffs Harbour. It's only 22, 23-ish outside, so it's not too bad. It's really let the humidity in now because the fan's still blowing air in, and it's clearly really humid outside. It's starting to get quite sticky in here, whereas the air conditioner was sort of acting as a dehumidifier before. I will turn the air conditioner back on as soon as I'm plugged into the charger to try and dehumidify the air in the car, but as far as actual temperature, it's perfectly fine, really. 800 metres to go. I'm going to make it very easily, which is a bit of a relief. Still 25 kilometres estimated on the car. I'm not sure what I was concerned about, really. I wouldn't have wanted to run the buffer much slower than this, though, because sometimes there just might be a big hill at the end, or you have to keep a decent speed, or it might have started pouring with rain or something. You always want to have a little bit of spare power to work with. So this one's at an Ampol, so it seems all of these EV sort of setups along here are at petrol stations. But that's alright. And here we are. We've even got a picnic bench. Not that it's really the weather for it. Anyway, the rain seems to have just about stopped, which is a change of pace. But I will go and plug in. We have 8% remaining. We're not getting power yet, but there we go. 8% ramping up. Just going to sit on 69 for a little bit. I've been for a walk around town and it's not too bad. It's barely raining now, so it's fine. Some of the footpaths are a bit flooded though, but the car is now up to 62%. Speed's down to 57 kilowatts, and the next realistic charging stop would be in Port Macquarie, unless I wanted to do a 300 kilometre stretch, which wouldn't make sense because you'd have to charge at slow speed for a while. So I'll stop this and unplug and head off to Port Macquarie. It's only like 97 kilometres or something, so I've actually overcharged, but I was getting good speeds up until 5 minutes ago. Get to Port Macquarie by 2:44. There is this Genesis GV70 charging next to me. That was there once I got back from a bit of a walk. Actually, I saw it drive through town as well, and I thought, I wonder if that's the electric one, and if so, I wonder if it's going to the charger. And the answers were yes and yes. But despite having sort of now competition for decent chargers, having to worry about that, it is kind of nice to have other EVs around again, rather than being the only EV in a sea of diesel Land Cruisers with giant bull bars on them. But anyway, off we go again. It's a bit of a short stretch, but I'd either have to use a slower charger in somewhere else between, or stretch it all the way to somewhere else, I can't remember where. Or I could have used Tari South Service Centre, which I used on the way down last time, and I haven't actually checked. It might be perfectly fine now. There's a good chance they've fixed it. This was 6 months ago, 8 months ago, but I was sort of burned by that charger. One of them didn't work, the other one had a broken screen and someone else was using it, so I had to wait. But it was not great. I would have to assume it's fixed by now, but I'd just rather not go there. I'll go Port Macquarie and then somewhere else I found, and then I should just about have enough to make it through Sydney, but we'll see. I am now 6 minutes away from the next charger. I do still have 128 kilometres of estimated range remaining, but as I said before, if I go beyond this, I'd either have to risk the charger I have negative experiences with, which there's a board here I could actually tell you, that would be 84 kilometres away, so that would probably be about right distance-wise, which is probably why I did it last time, but I don't really want to do that. There's quite a good chance it would be perfectly fine, but there's also a chance it just wouldn't work out too well. And here I am navigating to the NRMA station where there's several 150 kilowatt chargers or something, but there's also a Tesla Supercharger station right around the corner, so I have more options as well, even if it doesn't work out perfectly. So that's where I'm at here. And I probably won't charge here all that long. I just need enough. Actually, I think the next stretch will be about 200 kilometres. So I need to add a bit over 100 kilometres worth of range extra. But not all that long. And the car is on 37%. It was raining a bit, but it's not raining at all now. Actually, like the road's damp, but there's no water on it at all. And I see some chargers. Only two actually. This one actually has a ChargeFox sticker on it, so maybe it can't even be activated with the NRMA app at all. All the instructions are referring to ChargeFox, which is better. I wasn't a fan of the NRMA app. Very heavy, chunky cables. Sometimes you go to a charger and it's fairly thin, light, easy to move. Other times it's really chunky and heavy. And they don't seem to be like specifically significantly faster ones that have chunkier cables, but I don't really know. Maybe it's the faster ones. No, I don't think it even is, because my car doesn't charge all that fast. So maybe chargers that have really high power that I'm not even noticing have the chunkier cables, but I don't think that's even it. Anyway, up to 72, 73-ish kilowatts, so full speed. So I'll charge up a bit here from 36%, and then I'll head off again. I think I was probably just being a bit silly and petty not going to Tari, because I've actually had to charge up here to 70%, and now I've ramped down to 36 kilowatts. I didn't need to ramp down to 36 kilowatts. It was 50 something kilowatts until very recently, and I could have unplugged. It's just I was getting ready to leave. But Tari probably would have been a bit more optimized, but I still felt like there's a chance it wasn't going to work. Anyway, it's charged along very well here, and it is definitely more so operating through ChargeFox than some of the others were, because I can see all the details in the ChargeFox app and everything, which I couldn't before with some of the ones in the Northern Territory and stuff. And we're good to go again. There is a BMW that's just pulled up as I was sort of talking about being ready to leave. I have a packet of biscuits sitting on the dashboard. It'll be fine once I'm up to speed, but accelerating, they just want to fall off. They're Woolworths brand family assortment, so a very direct copy to Arnott's family assorted, and nowhere near as good. I thought they looked like they'd be exactly the same, but they're not as good. just getting off the highway now for the next charging stop. The charge is still 6 minutes away, so unfortunately it's a little bit off the highway. But it's a Tesla Supercharger station, so I know there will be plenty of chargers available, which is good, getting fairly close to Sydney. Yes, so I have 75 kilometres of range left still. So I possibly could have made it to the Cameron Park chargers in Newcastle, sort of on the edge of Newcastle. Like, basically you get off the highway and they're there. There are now low quality biscuits all through the front seat. Well, I've found my activity for the time the car's charging. I've lost my train of thought completely now. But yeah, basically I could have made it to the Cameron Park chargers, but there's only a few of them and they're sort of, on the edge of Newcastle. I'm worried they might be all occupied, or I might be sort of fighting for a spot there. So I feel like this is going to be a better option, although I might have to do a fairly deep charge to make it into Sydney and out the other side. But I'll pull up all the details when there we go. Newcastle's only 29 kilometres away, Sydney's 168. So I can very easily make it to Sydney after this charging stop. It's just I usually prefer to get out the other side of Sydney without charging in Sydney. But we'll see how we go. Quite a town here. There's a Tesla 2 cars ahead of me. I have a guess as to where they might be going, because it is a Tesla station. Nope, they went the other direction. They just must live around here or something. So it's fairly busy. We've got a Mercedes, 2 Volvos, and 1 Tesla. Now there's going to be a Kia as well. So I think the version 4 cable, this is a version 4 one, so it's like the updated design. Ooh, there's crumbs everywhere. I think the version 4 cables are longer, so I shouldn't have difficulties making it reach. I have tried to get it fairly close, but I think it should be fine. Plugged in very easily. Lovely long cables, not as long as other chargers, but plenty of length. Getting up to 29, 33, 36, 40. With the version 3 and 4 chargers, all the power's connected together. So if there's more cars charging here than... So if basically half of all the chargers here are occupied, then the same limiting power would start to happen if another car arrived. But it doesn't matter which chargers all those cars are plugged into, because they can share power between them evenly. And because they can share power between them evenly, like one of the cars charging is probably a bit slow because it might be very full or something. So usually you don't have the power sharing issues when you have a lot of cars charging here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5 cars here now. I don't know where the other Teslas... They might not have been charging at all. This is a Woolworths car park, so they might just be shopping. But I'm up to 73 kilowatts now. Volvo driver's unplugging. Packet of biscuits was there. And then it fell down there. And absolutely everywhere. And I mean, the rest of the car's a mess as well. Look at that. It's kind of embarrassing. But the biscuits definitely made it worse. There's another Tesla pulled up. So I think it's a pretty busy station here. But that's why, just sort of location and even timing wise, I'm glad I'm at a station with a lot of plugs, a lot of stalls. very big charging station here. I'd like to film some footage of it because it's kind of interesting, but there's kind of a lot of people around. But yes, there's actually some more of the Tesla stalls down that way. So when I saw a Tesla drive that way before, they were charging over there. So there's even more than there appeared to be. And all the parking spots with chargers in them have a solar canopy above them. And then all the parking spots without cars in them have just like a fabric canopy. Which is kind of like, couldn't you put the solar canopy on all of them? But anyway, maybe that was already there, and then when they built this, they put the solar canopy on as well. Who knows? But there is quite a decent sized solar array here. I'd imagine if there was one car charging in the sun, it could probably, maybe even two cars. If it was like full sun, you could probably charge two cars like immediately from the solar panels that it's generating. Anyway, car's up to 60%, down to 56 kilowatts, and we could continue at 50 something kilowatts for a little while. But I think I'll probably just head into Sydney, and if I don't have enough to make it out the other side, I'll just charge somewhere in Sydney. Not a big deal. I'm trying to cover as much distance as I can today, so I don't really want to be wasting time charging at 56 kilowatts. Even though a few days ago I would have said charging at 56 kilowatts is excellent, I can do better than that now. So I think I will stop the charging and unplug. Get out of here. I will deliberately drive down this way to show you the other chargers. So there's direct to boot stuff here, but then there's also this line of chargers here under another solar canopy. And then all the regular parking spots just get these tarp things over them. There's only Teslas charging there now. When I arrived, it was a whole lot of different cars. So it is pretty much spot on 2 hours into the heart of Sydney. So we'd get there at 7:46 p.m. if that holds up to be accurate. And it's 173 kilometres. The car's got 229 of range left, so I probably will have to charge somewhere in Sydney, but we'll assess that as we get to it. The efficiency might improve a bit going into Sydney because there'll just be more traffic and slower speeds and stuff, so we'll see. And actually, I think there's quite a bit of downhill on just coming into Sydney from memory, which would make sense because Sydney is on the harbour, so it has to be not that much higher than sea level. I remember doing this on the way back from Coolangatta last time I did the trip. This weird, not at all on a highway sort of drive. And I hadn't even done that charging stop last time. It specifically got me off the highway to do this. And yeah, I haven't been on the highway since I left the charger, which is not ideal when I have an open packet of biscuits sliding around on the fridge and my laptop's rattling around in the back of the car. And there's all these bends and there's traffic and stuff, so I have to do the bends in a timely manner. But I don't know why Google takes this. I wonder if there's some terrible roadworks or something that have been going on for a while. I am now in Sydney. Unfortunately, it is dark once again. I don't seem to be getting the timing quite right for these cities, but I'm here. I still have 81 kilometres worth of range left, so I can definitely make it to outer Sydney. Even I'd probably struggle to make it out of Sydney though, but outer Sydney should be fairly doable. That was the biscuits again. I should have done something better with them. I think they'll just stay in the passenger footwell now. I'll clean them up when I get home. Probably won't be tomorrow, I'll be exhausted tomorrow, but the next day will very much be car cleaning day. If I can get a spot here, this would be pretty good. There we go. Made it to Sydney. Okay, now where can I get to? I want to get to the M31, this BP, 35 k's away. That seems doable. That's as the crow flies. 50 k's, 50, 60, 70, 80, yeah, only 30. I reckon I can do that. That's a BP service station, very much on the way out of town. If I can find the right cable. That's, I'll get there at 8:25, and then I can plug in, top the car up, and work out where I'm actually going to end the night. Driving over the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Didn't intend to do this at all. This is just what Google's told me to do. Pretty cool. I'm now 1 kilometre from the turn off. 850 metres now, 800 metres, 750. I need to stop saying that. There's still 40 kilometres of estimated range left, so I had really no worries there at all. What I guess I failed to take into account was that, is this it? Yes, it is. Yeah, I failed to take into account the range estimate was still based on doing 110, and I was doing quite a lot of city driving, so it actually got a fair bit better. I don't want to do KFC drive-through. I guess I go with this truck. There they are. Ooh, 138 kilowatts it says. That's a very weird amount to have available. Yeah, the screen says 138 kilowatts, which I've never seen before. That seems very weird. But anyway, seeing as my car tops out at about 77, that's not going to bother me at all. Shouldn't do, as long as the charger's working, as it says it is. Communicating with vehicle, yes. Activated with no issues. 10%, and we're ramping up. 69, okay. I really need to go into the toilets. Then I'll work out where I'm going to stay for the night and how much further I'll go tonight. I've booked accommodation at the Alpine Heritage Motel in Goulburn. I left my run way too late to find caravan park sort of place, but that's okay. That's 150 kilometres away. I've got 209 estimated now, charged up to 59%, and the speed has just tapered, so I reckon we're good to go. Then I'll charge up in Goulburn in the morning, or I might try and find a nearby AC charger and leave it there overnight, unlike what I did yesterday. Last night, because last night I could have left it on that AC charger all night and I would have had a full battery in the morning. If I can do similar tonight in Goulburn, that will give me a great head start for tomorrow. But I think it's time to move on from here. It's just gone 9 p.m. now, and I've got another hour and a half to drive. My estimated arrival is 10:33 p.m, so it's going to be a pretty late night, but at least I'm getting the distance underway. I'm 600 metres from my turn-off to Goulburn. There's actually multiple turn-offs to Goulburn, but Google's telling me to take this one. Car's still showing 52 kilometres of estimated range. It's 6.8 to the motel, but there's no charging at the motel, but that's fine. It is a bit low to leave it overnight, 17%, so I would really like to put it on an AC charger overnight. I think there's some options reasonably nearby, but I'll have to assess the situation once I get there. Because it's not, in theory, not really good for a battery to be left below about 20% for an extended period of time, like overnight. At 17%, if I have to leave it, I have to leave it, but ideally I'll get it topping back up. And also, regardless of the battery, just as far as the trip tomorrow, to start off with 100% as opposed to 16% will be way better. So many trucks on the road at this time of night. You're just constantly overtaking trucks. It's 10:25, and this is Goulburn. So all up today, because I had the car off last night, so I have data for the day. Today I've done 1,033.1 kilometres, averaging 18.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometres, and the car being on for 10 hours 59 minutes. I did have it on a lot of the time while I was charging, but I actually think the counter stops counting while you're charging, because I left at like 8 a.m. and it's 10 p.m. now, so that's more than 11 hours. Everything's just sort of devolving into madness. The car's in an absolute state. There's biscuits all through the passenger footwell. There's biscuit crumbs all over the centre console everywhere. I'm ready to get home. And it is still raining, I would like to point out. I'm not sure if there's any sort of parking or anything. Heritage Motel, that's the one actually. Just what's out the front of there? So, not really. I guess. Yes, there is. Specifically tells you 45-degree angle parking, front to curb, vehicles under 6 metres only. That's the most specific parking sign I've ever seen. Anyway, that was a bit difficult. The reception kind of closed and the key was in a lockbox, but I was never told about the lockbox. But anyway, I've got into my room and I've put the stuff I will need for the night in the room. And the Goulburn Workers Club is 0.4 kilometres away from here, with, I think, public AC chargers. So I'm going to try and drive over there and walk back. It's now 10:57, so I'd really just like to be in bed, but having a full battery tomorrow morning when I want to finish the trip and get all the final kilometres covered, having a full battery would be very good. Oh, there's the visitor centre. The visitor centre is meant to have one as well, I think. There's a Tesla station that I can't use, I believe. But I feel like there was also meant to be another one. An AC charge on the other side of it, apparently. You need to go inside and ask for the key. Well, that's not going to happen, is it? The Tesla one is apparently open to non-Tesla. So that's my backup plan, I guess. When I first get up so I could park in the motel. And then when I first get up in the morning, bring the car down here while I'm getting ready to leave and have it on the DC charger of the Tesla. But I'd rather get it charging overnight, really. Oh, they shut a gate. Yeah, I think I can't get in there because the place is closed. So, I'm gonna have to just leave it in the motel overnight, I guess. Yeah, I'll leave it not charging overnight then. And I'll go across to the visitor centre first thing in the morning and get it plugged in. Oh yeah, there's the locked meter box. EV charger. Up to 32 amps, up to 7.4 kilowatts, type 2. So I don't know what the purpose of that even is. A slow AC charger that you can't access at night. Like, who's using that? You come to the visitor information centre, you're going to go in and ask for the key, and then you plug in, and then you go back in the visitor information centre, I guess, and I guess you look at some information, and you're there for an hour, and you've added about 40 k's of range, and then what? Is that's all you're doing? I don't know. I don't get the point in that. Anyway, back where we started. Fortunately, the car will have to sit at 15% overnight. Not the end of the world, but not ideal.